Hi my friends, today I'm sharing with you an easy and quick tutorial on how to step up the Eager to Stamp sketch number 7. We're using the Happiness Abounds stamp set. We'll be using this flower image along with a Stampin' Spritzer, a watercolour brush, the soft succulent ink, watercolour paper for our watercolouring technique, the pattern paper from the Texture Chic pattern paper pack, a scrap piece of petal pink cardstock, and a soft succulent card base. So first of all, we need to cut our card base at 14.8 . And then we're going to score at 10.5. Use our bone folder, get a nice crisp fold, and we'll pop that to the side. Taking this piece of pattern paper from the Texture Chic pack, we're going to cut this one at 9.5. by 13.8. That will be our first layer. This DSP will be cut at 6.2. And then cut at 5.7. This DSP will also be cut at 6.2. But it's then cut at 5. We also need a soft succulent mat of 6.7 in height, and I think it's 11.5 in length. And 6.7 in height. Great. All right, adhere our pattern paper to our mat. Just line these up, some nice straight lines. Okay, off. Then we'll also adhere our pattern paper to the front of our card base. And we're going to glue this one into the center of that DSP now too. Okay, so our technique is going to be a watercoloring technique. So we're going to put this one to the side. That's our watercolor paper. We're going to stamp this flower image. We're going to stamp it in Memento. The other way that you could stamp it is you lie it down and then you put the ink pad over the top and really get that Memento ink onto there. And stamp it onto your watercolor paper. Lovely. I'll be spritzing the stamped image first and then using my watercolor. So with the ink pad, I'm going to put the ink onto the roof of this ink pad to be able to use it with my water painter. So the way that you do that is just give it a good squeeze into the middle so that the top of the pad is touching the ink pad. And when you open it up, you'll see that we've got now an ink spot. We're going to be using this with our water painter. Alright, so spritz up. If you're worried about your workspace, you can put a silicone mat underneath your work. I have a old crafting mat that I can pop underneath there. And I'm just going to now spritz over the flower. The Memento, once dry on the paper, is water resistant. All right, now I'm going to ink up my brush. So it's going to go from darker to lighter. And wherever I want it to be dark, I just apply more ink to that area. And then I come out and it lightens up as there's less ink on the brush. There's some areas that I'll go back over, so I want to darken those up. But right now I'll just focus on getting the colour all over the flower. Keeping that centre nice and dark. Alright, now I'm going to go in with some dark. So these parts of the flower that are really close to each other, I'm going to make those nice and dark. And keeping those larger flower areas lighter. Now the full impact of this flower won't be seen until it's dry. Again, when you're finished, you can fussy cut, or if you have the dies, you can die cut out the flower. We can get our heat tool. Just use your fingers to feel the dryness of that. All right, we're going to run that through the die cutter, and that should then bring the cuts nice and close, and you won't get that spread of colour. Right, there's our watercolour flower all cut out with the die cutter now. So we're going to put this away and bring back in our card. We'll glue our flower here. But before we do that, we need to stamp our sentiment onto our petal pink. For this card, we're going to stamp congratulations. So line that up onto a piece of grid. Yep, okay. And again, we're stamping with the soft succulent. Onto the petal pink. Give it a bit of a, I don't know what do you call it? Is it a banner cut? I call it a banner cut. I'll have to look it up one day. Okay. Right, and again we're going to need a bit of scrap petal pink. We will be gluing to bulk it up on the back there.